for runners class, but you don't have to be a runner to be able to do it. If you know me in person, personally, or just from yoga or maybe from HIIT class, you know that I am not a runner. It's not for me. The furthest I've ever ran is 2.5 miles, which I find to be quite the accomplishment for somebody who literally hates running. It's just not something I like to do. My body doesn't like it, despite the fact that my mother and father are both runners. So you don't have to be a runner to do this class. It's just going to be great if you are a runner. I recommend getting a tie, a strap, a belt, something that you can use to lengthen your arms, because we're going to be looping it around our feet, just to get a little bit deeper of a stretch whilst being able to relax your upper body. So if you want to pause for a minute, go grab some sort of something. It could be even a towel that you roll up, just something that you can use to lengthen, to reach your foot without having to stress out the upper part of your body. And then when you're ready, we're going to start in child's pose. So just setting the strap or whatever you have aside for right now, and we're just going to come over onto our shins, bring your knees wide if it feels comfortable, and lengthen yourself out into your child's pose. If you want to, you can start with the arms by the sides. And we'll just take a couple of long, deep breaths here. See if you can really relax your hips back. If you have your arms by your sides, maybe you want to grab your feet and pull so that your hips can pull back towards your heels. Just taking 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then we'll take the arms long if they aren't there already. We're just going to thread the right arm underneath the left, letting your shoulder and your head come down, stretching out the back of the arm. And then coming back through center, move on to the other side. And then gently coming back up through center. Lengthen your arms really long. See if you can reach your chest down. And then spreading your fingertips as wide as you can. We're just going to slowly lift. Take the feet so that they're flat down on the ground and shift forward and back a couple of times. So try to inhale as you come forward and exhale to sit your hips back. If it feels good, you can tuck your toes under. Starting to get a little bit of a stretch through the bottom of the feet. And then we can also start to bring cat and cow into this movement. So you'll inhale to bring the chest forward, tailbone up. Exhale, lift the back towards the ceiling. Inhale, back through center. And exhale, press your hips back. So a couple more times like that. Try to move Each time with your breath. We'll bring our hips back towards our heels one last time. And then come up through center. Just move through cat and cow a couple of times. See if you can make it a little bit dramatic. So you're rolling your shoulders as you're moving through. And then make your way back to center, and we're just going to shift side to side. So looking back at your hip, come through center and over to the other side. Try to keep your core pulled in so your belly's lifting away from the floor. One more time in each direction. And then coming back to center, pull your belly in. We're going to start by lifting the left leg up, draw some big circles. And take those circles in the opposite direction. And then we're going to lengthen that left leg back, tuck your toes under, press into your hands. You can shift them forward. Try not to lock your knee out so it's bent just the tiniest bit. And we're going to press into the hands, pressing out through that heel. And then we'll move to the other side. So right leg coming up, draw some big circles. Keep your core pulled in. And then the other way. And then lengthen the leg out, tuck your toes under, press into your hands, press out through that heel. Try to keep your knee bent just the tiniest bit. And then release. And we're going to tuck our toes under. We're going to send the hips back and up, coming towards downward facing. Keep the knees bent. And then lower back down. So take that a couple of times. See if each time you can send your heels lower, still keeping the knees bent a little. Maybe each time you can send the hips a little higher, the thighs a little bit straighter. Just trying to make sure that you're bringing your shoulders in line with your hips, pressing into your hands. We'll take one more like this. And then come back down to center. You're going to take your right knee, cross it over the left. Top of the foot's on the floor. We'll start to slide back. Getting a little bit of a stretch on the outside of the hip, almost like a modified pigeon. And then come through center and to the other side. So just doing this a few times. One last time to the other side. And then back through center, we're going to tuck our toes, find downward facing dog. So keep your knees bent as much as you need to. Heels can be off the ground. Pedal the legs a few times. Try to keep tilting your tailbone towards the ceiling. And then looking forward, walk your feet up to the top of your mat. Keep the knees bent a lot. We're just going to bend the knees enough that your belly and thighs can come together. Let your head be loose. Shake it yes and no. And we're going to roll all the way up to standing. So lengthen the arms up, inhaling, Bend your knees deep, roll all the way back down. And a few more times like that. Lifting up, lengthening, reach to the ceiling. Bend the knees deeply, come all the way down. Maybe each time your thighs can be a little bit longer, knees a little less bent. And then we're going to start to add on to this. So as you inhale up, lengthen. Exhale to fold, and we'll come halfway up. Roll the shoulders back. So notice if you're like this, trying to get your legs straight. Let's get the spine long, tilting the tailbone up behind you. Maybe your knees need to be bent a little bit, and we'll exhale back down. And roll all the way up to standing, reach to the ceiling. Exhale all the way back down. Lengthen halfway up, maybe your legs can come a little bit straighter. Try to send your inner thighs towards the back. Exhale, lower. Inhale, roll up. We'll do two more like this. See if you can squeeze your shoulder blades together. Last time just with this, and then we'll add on again. And roll all the way up. And this time we're going to add on coming into a sun salutation variation. So come halfway up, lengthen the spine. Exhale to come down. You're going to step back with your right leg. Take the back knee down. Top of the foot's going to be on the floor. Squeeze your glute and lengthen all the way up. Keep that glute squeezing. Press into the heel of the front foot. Exhale, coming down. Straighten your front leg out as much as feels good. Maybe you can pull the toes off the floor. And then we're going to shift it forward, tuck your back toes, shift back a little, and step all the way back up, lengthening halfway up. Exhale, take it down, step back with the left foot. Bring the knee down to the floor, top of the back foot, squeeze the buns, lengthen all the way up. And exhale, back down, hands to the floor, shift your weight. Maybe you can straighten that front leg. Maybe you need to keep it bent a lot. And we'll shift back forward, tuck your toes, shift back enough that you can use the momentum to come forward into your fold. Halfway up, lengthening. Exhale down. And roll all the way up, reach to the ceiling. We're going to do that exact same thing one more time. So exhale, straight back down, keeping the knees bent. Lengthen halfway up, maybe they can come a little longer. Exhale, fold down. Step back, right foot, take the top of the foot down onto the floor, squeeze the glutes, lengthen up. Exhale, sink it down, straighten your front leg. Maybe you can come a little longer this time. Taking it forward, tuck your back toes, lift the knee, shift back a little, and step back up, lengthening halfway. Exhale down, left leg back. Take the knee down, top of the back foot down, squeeze your buns, inhale up. And exhale back down. Straighten your front leg. Coming forward, tuck your toes under. Shift the weight. Pressing forward, come halfway up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, roll all the way up. Lengthen to the ceiling. And we'll add on. So exhaling all the way down. Come halfway up. Exhale, fold right leg back. Taking the knee down, top of the foot, lengthen all the way up, and this time you're going to exhale, twist towards your front leg. You can hold here, you can bring your knee or your elbow to your knee, maybe bring your palms to prayer. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, pull your belly in, maybe you can press your chest towards your hands. Keep squeezing the glutes on the back leg. On your next exhale, come back to center, lengthen the arms up to inhale. Exhale the hands down, we'll shift our weight back, and we're just going to come forward and back here a couple of times. So lengthening, forward, squeeze the glutes. Come back, try to reach your chest towards your toes. So this knee can be bent if you need it to. Just coming forward and back a few times. We're gonna hold it back this time. Lengthen your spine so you can bring your hands outside of that front foot, squeeze your hips under you, and maybe you can walk over a little bit more. So if you're like me and you have tight IT bands, which is a problem for runners, you might feel this really deeply. Keep trying to reach your chest forward so you're not rounding, you're lengthening. And then coming back through center, we're gonna bend back into that front leg, plant your hands down. We'll step back into a plank, knees down for this first one. Widen through your fingertips, lengthening forward, elbows pointing back. Shift your shoulders a little bit before you lower down. And we're gonna take our hands wide, inhale the chest up. Try to press your low ribs down towards the floor, press your pelvis in, your navel's pulling away. And exhale back down, we'll tuck our toes, send the hips all the way back first, and then lift for downward facing dog. We're gonna stay on the left side, so lifting that left leg up, reach it high. See if you can send your right heel down towards the floor. And then looking forward, we're gonna step the foot all the way up to the top of the mat. So coming back to that lunge. If you need to, you can use your hand to help you, or you can come to your knees first. Lengthening here, squeeze the glutes. And then we'll pick up the back knee, shift back a little bit, step all the way forward, finding your forward fold. Lengthen to come halfway up. Exhale, fold down, we'll move to the other side. So left leg's gonna step back. Take the knee down, top of the foot's down, lengthen all the way up, inhaling. And as you exhale, twist towards your front leg. Just like before, you can take your elbow, hook it outside of the knee. Palms can come together, take a deep inhale. Pull your belly in and find your twist. Keep squeezing your back glute. Inhale back to center. Exhale down with the hands, and we'll shift forward and back a couple of times. So lengthening and shift. Squeeze the glute on that back leg. This time when you have your legs straight, we're gonna lengthen really long. See if you can take your hands to the outside of your front foot. Keep your spine long, maybe you can walk the hands over. Squeeze the hips underneath you. Walking your hands back to center. Shift your way back. We're going to plant our hands, step back towards a plank, come onto your knees, spread your fingers really wide, pull your belly in, find that plank, shift your shoulders, lower all the way down. Take your hands wide, press into your pelvis, lift your chest. Try to get the low ribs down towards the floor. So you might be down here, maybe you can come higher. And then exhaling down. Bring your hands next to your ribs. We're going to press all the way back and then find downward facing. So notice if this feels a little bit better this time. Staying on that right side, we're going to lift the right leg high, squeeze it up, see if you can send your left heel down. Try to keep your shoulders square to the floor, so you're pressing both down towards the ground. And then we'll step that foot all the way up. So just like before, you can use your hand to help you, or you can come to your knees. We'll lengthen all the way up. Keep squeezing the glute on that back leg. And then take your hands down, tuck your back toes. We'll shift back a little, step it forward, come halfway up, lengthen your spine. Exhale to fold down. Inhale, reach all the way up, lengthen. And exhale, straight back down. We'll come halfway up, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold down, step back with the right leg. We're going to keep the knee off the ground this time if it feels comfortable. So you can bring it down if you need to. If it feels good, squeeze your glute really hard so that you're using that muscle engagement on the back side of your leg to get a stretch through the front. We'll take our right hand down to the floor and we're going to twist towards our front leg. Squeeze everything in. Don't let your back hip drop. And then as you exhale, take the hand down. See if it feels okay to straighten that leg a little bit, taking the toes off the ground. And then when you're ready, sinking back in, plant your hands. We'll step back towards a plank. You can stay up on your knee, off of your knees this time. Come to your knees if you prefer. We'll lower all the way down. Take the fingertips wide, lengthen your chest up. And then exhale back down. If it feels good, you can tuck your toes, bring your hands next to your ribs, pull your belly in, press through plank, and back to downward facing. So if that didn't feel good, just do like we did before, bringing the hips all the way back first. See if you can tilt your tailbone towards the ceiling. We're going to stay on the left side still, so lift the left leg high. Send your right heel down. This time bend your left knee. See if you can stack your hips, opening them towards the wall that is in front of them. And then you're going to keep that left leg up if it feels good. Lengthen it long and see if you can sink the leg down. So you're making like a big arch. And we'll squeeze it back up. And step the foot all the way up to the top of the mat, finding that runner's lunge. So squeeze, try to lengthen through your spine. We're going to take the hands forward a little bit if you can. We're going to put the weight into the front leg and try to lengthen it up, squeezing your right leg towards the ceiling. See if you can bring your chest down. Your knee can be bent if you need it to. And then step that foot all the way up. And we'll lengthen halfway up. And exhale, fold back down. Moving to the other side, left leg's going to step back. Finding that runner's lunge, holding here. Just like before, if you need to, your back knee can come down. Try to squeeze your glutes, sending your thigh towards the ceiling. See if you can bring your chest forward. And then just like before, we're going to try to straighten out your front leg. So straightening it as much as you can. You can keep it bent. See if you can take your toes off the floor. Pull everything under you because they might be shifting out to the one side. And then sinking back in, we'll plant our hands. Step back to plank, staying up on the toes if you like, or you can come to your knees. We'll shift forward before we lower. Take your fingertips wide, lengthen your chest up. And then just like before, you can send your hips back to your heels and then to downward facing, or you can tuck your toes, pull your belly in. See if you can press straight up through plank and back to downward facing. Tilt your tailbone towards the ceiling. See if you can send your chest back. Spread your fingertips wide, pressing into the fingertips so that your wrist isn't taking all the weight. Staying on the right side, we'll lift the right leg up. Send the left heel down. Bend your right knee. See if you can open your hips towards the side. And if it feels good, lengthen your leg long and start to let your right leg drop down towards the floor, getting that side stretch. And we'll take it all the way back up. Step to the top of the mat, finding that runner's lunge. Squeezing the glute on your back leg. Oh, I forgot the twist on the other side, so we'll do it now. So bring your left hand down, twisting towards your front leg. yourself down, bring your fingertips forward. We're gonna press into our front foot. Bring that left leg high. You can keep your knee bent if you need to. Just finding that standing split that's more like an L. And then we'll take that foot down, lengthening halfway up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. So hopefully your legs are feeling a little bit better. Exhale all the way down. Come halfway up. Exhale down. So you stay where you are. I'm going to come to the other side. We're going to start with the left leg. So reaching that right leg back. We're going to find our runner's lunge to start. Length and long. Keep squeezing the glute on the right leg. We're going to bring the left hand inside of the left foot if it feels good. See if you can twist. Try to keep your hips pointing down. This top arm can come behind you if it feels better. And then taking your right hand back down. We're going to walk them along the long edge of your mat. Turning your toes so they're parallel to the front. Take your hands onto your hips, lengthen halfway up. Press into both feet. And then exhale, fold back down. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Let your head be heavy. And then coming halfway up, we're going to turn our left toes towards the front. Turn your right toes out at an angle. And we're going to lift up, finding warrior two. So press out through the back foot, press into the front heel. You should be able to wiggle your toes. We're bringing the fingers up. Palms facing towards the ceiling. See if you can sink that back hip down a little bit. Squeeze through the glute. Pull your belly in. Take your gaze over the front fingers. Take your back hand to your back thigh. We'll reach into reverse warrior. Lengthen really long. See if you can sink in a little deeper. Keep squeezing that back leg. And we're going to keep this length down the left side as we shift forward for extended side angle. So you're not coming like this. You want to bring yourself here. You can even bring your hand to your thigh if you need to. See if you can sink in more. Strong through this back leg. Top arm can come up. Pull your front or your top, your right hip and rib towards each other. So you're not back bending here. You're just trying to spiral up towards the ceiling. And then take your back hand back to your back thigh. Lengthen all the way back. Reach that front leg straight. See if you can come back a little bit further. Keep squeezing that right glute. And we're going to come to triangle pose. So again, keeping this length all the way down your side. You're going to shift forward, tilt your hips a little bit, keep lengthening down this side, and just let your arm relax. Open up your chest. Try to bring your shoulder in line with your front leg. So you're not leaning forward so that you can reach the ground. Just coming here, keeping this length, trying to reach the lowest rib towards your front toes. And then if it feels good, maybe you can come down a little bit more. Right hip and rib, squeezing. Maybe you can spiral more. Maybe you want your top arm up. Notice if, like me, you're bringing your left shoulder forward. Try to relax it back. You can take your gaze up if it feels good for your neck. Maybe you can sink down more. Keep holding here. And then we're going to take our right hand, circle it down, pick up your right heel, take the hands to the inside of your left leg and set the knee down, top of the back foot down, squeeze. See if you can lengthen long. We're going to take our left toes, turn them out towards the corner of the mat and peel the whole foot off the ground. So you're not just letting the knee drop off, you're coming to the outside edge of that front foot. Squeeze the glute on your right leg. Maybe you can walk the arms out a little bit further to sink down. Maybe you can come onto your forearms, but you don't have to. I like to turn my fingertips towards my hips to stretch my wrists while I'm here. Keep squeezing the glutes so you're not putting the weight into your joint. If you have your hands turned around, we're going to bring the fingertips forward. Walk your foot in so you can frame your front foot with your hands. Tuck your back toes. We'll step back to plank. You can chaturanga if you'd like to. Make sure to shift your shoulders before you lower. And we're just going to come to cobra again. So fingertips wide. Roll just the chest up. Press into your pelvis. And exhale back down. Planting the hands, tucking the toes. So you can send your hips back for downward facing, or you can press up through plank and then to downward facing dog. So you stay there. I'm going to turn around. And then looking forward, walk your feet back up to the top of the mat, come halfway up. Try to send your inner thighs back. Maybe you can come longer this time. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up, lengthening. Exhale all the way back down. We're going to do the other side. So we're going to start out stepping the left leg back, finding that runner's lunge. Squeeze the glutes, sinking in. Try to reach your chest forward. Press into the heel of the front foot. And then hands inside of the leg. We'll walk ourselves over. Bringing the feet so they're parallel to each other. Find your forward fold. This time, if you'd like, cross opposite elbows. Rock side to side a couple of times. And then as you exhale, release the hands down. We're going to turn our right toes towards the front, sink into that knee, turn your left toes either forward or maybe in a little bit. We'll find our way up into our warrior. Squeeze this back hip. Maybe you can sink in lower, palms facing up, reach out. Pull your belly in, strong through the back leg. Look over your fingertips, holding here. Take our back hand to our back thigh, reach into reverse warrior. See if you can sink in a little bit more. Really squeeze that back leg. And then just like before, keeping this length here, we're going to shift forward, bringing your forearm to your thigh. Maybe you want your hand there. Try not to put all of the weight into it. So you're pressing into your heel, you're using your body. Keep pressing strong through your left leg. And then we'll take our back hand to our back thigh. Reach all the way back. Lengthen that leg straight. See if you can sink in a little bit more. And then keeping this length, we're going to lengthen all the way forward. Tilt your hips. Just let your arm relax wherever you can find it. Your left hip and rib squeezing. Maybe you can sink down more. So you don't want to lock this knee out, you want it nice and soft. See if you can come further. You're reaching your right ribs towards your toes. And then just like before, I have the habit of bringing my shoulder forward. We want to roll it back. Maybe your arm wants to come up, maybe just your low back. Press into both feet. Keep pulling your belly in. Maybe you can sink a little lower. So try not to let yourself think, oh, well, I need to have my hand on the floor, so I'm going to come forward like this, because then you're not getting the stretch. Try to stay nice and high, pressing out through that back leg, squeezing the glute. Still have the core in nice and tight. And then we'll take the top hand around, down to the floor. Come off of your left heel, sink down onto the left knee. Hands inside of your front foot. And then we'll take the toes to point out to the corner and let the sole of the foot coming off the floor. So your knee onto your forearms. But if you're down on your forearms like this, that's not doing anything good for you. So just try to keep yourself long, chest is reaching forward. Noticing if maybe this side is a little bit more difficult than the other side, or easier. And then if you're on your forearms, come back up. We're just going to walk that foot back in, tucking your back toes, frame your front knee. We'll step back into plank. Again, you can stay up in a full plank, or you can come to your knees, lowering down. Fingertips wide, we'll lengthen our chest up. And exhale down. This time we're going to take a quad stretch. So holding here, you're going to start by taking your left foot in towards your booty, grab for it, squeeze your bum towards the ground, pulling that foot in as much as you can. Maybe you can get both feet or both hands on your foot. So staying just here if this is already a challenge for you and you're feeling a really good stretch. If you want, and it's okay for your knee, you can come up onto your right forearm and just start to bring the foot out to the side a little bit, bringing the heel towards the side of your hip. Top of the foot still facing straight up. And then gently release that foot out. We'll move to the other side. So bringing your right leg in, grab for the foot, squeeze your glutes. And just like on the other side, maybe you can bring both hands onto it. You want to press your pelvis into the ground. Squeeze your bum. And then just like before, if you're feeling a good stretch here and it's working for you, stay here. If it's okay for your knee, you can come up onto your left forearm. Just start to shift the foot out towards the hip a little bit. And then when you're ready, releasing that leg, we're going to bring the hands right underneath the shoulders. Press yourself back, find your way into a child's pose. Lengthen your arms long, sink down over the thighs. And then we're going to walk our hands back. If it's okay for your knees, we're going to sit down onto the heels. Try to bring the ankles towards each other so they're not rolling out to the sides. We're just going to bring the hands down to the floor if you need to, or you can keep them off. And we're going to pedal the knees up towards the ceiling. So stretching the fronts of the ankles. You might find this to be horrible and excruciating. You can lean forward and do this, or you can skip this completely. If this feels totally fine, you can bring your hands back, shifting both knees up off the ground, really deeply stretching. You should feel it hopefully in the tops of your ankles and then also through the back where you have that compression happening. We're going to come all the way forward, and if it feels okay, hands down onto the floor, keeping the tops of the feet on the ground. Spread your fingertips wide. We're going to send the hips up like you're coming to downward facing, but with your toes not tucked under. Your tops of the feet are on the ground. Woo. and then coming back down, we're gonna tuck our toes. If it feels okay, walk yourself over, and we're gonna come into crouching. So starting out just here, see if you can press your heels down towards the floor. Maybe you're able to come all the way up and put the heels all the way down. I will fall backwards if I do that, so I'm going to keep my hands on the ground, leaning forward, trying to get that deep stretch through the backs of my ankles. And then we're going to take our hands back for a second. Take a moment, spread your toes wide. We're going to do what I believe is the worst and most awful pose in all of yoga. You want to keep every single one of your toes on the floor, so they're tucked under. And we're going to start to shift the knees forward. So you're stretching out the bottoms of the feet. Maybe this is enough. Maybe you can bring the knees down. You can always put like a book under your knees so they're higher. If it feels okay, we'll sit back. When you're ready, we'll just shift it forward. Cross at your ankles, spin around if you need to, or just come over them. Bring the legs straight out in front of you. We're going to rotate them around. Point and flex. And then if you have your strap nearby, we're going to grab hold of it. We're going to take the left sole of the foot inside of the right thigh. You're going to loop the strap around your right leg, right foot, lengthen really tall, and start to sink forward. So keep this length in your spine so you're not rolling down like this. You want to lengthen out. Try to let your knee be relaxed a little bit. This knee out here, you can press down if it feels good. But we're trying to lengthen down towards the foot. Keep pulling the foot back towards you. If you don't need the strap, you can just grab hold of your foot and try to lengthen more. So you're sending your tailbone out behind you, chest towards your toes. You can bring the gaze down. And then slowly releasing, press yourself up. We'll switch over to the other leg. So left leg's long, right sole of the foot to the inside of the left thigh. Use your strap to start. Lengthen it around. You want this knee to be loose. You're not squeezing it really hard down towards the floor. Lengthen up. Use that strap to reach your chest forward. Trying to get your tailbone back. You can press down your right knee if it feels good. Maybe you don't need the strap at all and you can reach your foot. Keep pulling those toes back towards you. And then when you're ready, hands onto the floor, press yourself back up. We're going to bring both legs straight. And here's what I've been liking to do recently. So if you want to just come into a regular forward fold, you can. You can do it with your strap. I like to bend my knees, try to get my belly long along my thighs, Maybe you can grab hold of your feet, maybe just onto your calves. Keep your belly and your thighs nice and hugged in towards each other. And then start to scoot the feet out, and then if it feels good, see if you can let your head drop down. And then when you're ready, pressing back up, keeping your strap with you, we're gonna slide our hips forward, roll down onto your back. Starting out, just bringing that left ankle across the right thigh. If this feels good for you, stay just like this with your right foot on the ground. If you want to, you can pull the knees in towards you, bringing the hands on the back of the right thigh, pulling those knees in towards the chest. Maybe take your left elbow and press your left knee out. So keeping your legs exactly how they are, you're just going to bring your arms out. You can bring them into like a cactus shape or straight out into a T. And we're just going to let the knees drop over towards the right, bringing the left sole of the foot on the ground. If you get there and you don't like that, just unwind it and bring the knee on top of the right knee. If it feels good, maybe you can shift your hips so that your left one's shifting away from your face. And then when you're ready, gently coming back to center. We're going to stay on the left side for the time being. So grab hold of your strap, loop it around the left ball of your foot, so not on your arch. You don't want to put pressure there. And we'll just reach the heel towards the ceiling. So you're using your strap to make your arms longer. You can bring them down by the sides. If this isn't enough of a stretch for you, maybe you want to extend that right leg long. Notice if your toes are turning out to the side and your knees turning out to the side. See if maybe you can bring them so they're pointing straight up. Keep pressing out through your heel. And as you're here, maybe it feels good to pull your leg a little bit closer. Keep your shoulders relaxed onto the floor. And then you're going to keep both hips onto the ground. You're just going to take this left foot and shift it across your center line to where you feel a stretch down the side. So you might need to bring it up a little bit towards your shoulder. You're keeping that left hip on the ground so you can push your hand into it if you need to. Back to center, release the strap, bring your sole of the foot onto the ground. We'll move over to the right side. So ankle across the thigh to start. If this feels really good here with the left foot on the ground, stay here. Otherwise, you can bring the knees in towards the chest, hands on the back of the left thigh. Your right elbow can press your right knee open a little bit more. Try to keep your low back on the ground so you're not up like this, nice and relaxed. You could even take the strap around the back of the thigh if that feels better for your upper body. And then when you're ready, keeping your legs how they are, release your arms out to a T, maybe into cactus arms. We'll just let the legs drop over towards the left, right sole of the foot's on the ground. Maybe you can shift that right hip away from you. When you're ready, slowly come back to center. We're going to take the strap, loop it around the ball of your right leg, reach that heel up towards the ceiling. Try to keep your whole body on the ground, just like before. If you need more, just lengthen the left leg long. Try to turn your toes so they're pointing straight up behind you, your knees pointing straight up behind you. You can relax your shoulders back down onto the floor. See if you can press out through your heel. When you're ready, just like before, keeping that right hip on the ground, you're just going to shift the foot across your center line, maybe up towards your left shoulder. You can use your thumb in your right hip to press it down to the ground. And then when you're ready, bending that knee, take the strap off. We're going to take both feet down onto the floor, and we're just going to do some like spinal undulations. So we're not lifting up into bridge pose. We're just lifting the center of our back so our belly is reaching towards the ceiling. You should be able to put your hand under your mid-back and then squeeze it back down to the floor, pulling your belly in. We'll just take that a couple of times. So it's like doing cat and cow almost. Your hips are staying down on the floor. And then we're going to take our feet at the width of your mat. You're just going to let your right, or I guess this is my left, your left knee drop in, back up to the ceiling just a couple of times. The sole of your foot is coming off of the floor, so you're rolling to the inside of your foot. And then we'll do the other side, so letting the right knee drop in. Sole of the foot's coming off the ground, it's just you're coming onto that inside edge. And then taking the knees into your chest, rock around a little bit, release any tension that might be happening in your low back. And then we'll just draw the knees up into the chest, give yourself a tight hug, take a long deep breath, and as you exhale, just release yourself out. Find where you want to be for Shavasana, so maybe you just want to let your knees drop in towards each other. Maybe it feels good to lengthen your arms up. You can do whatever you like with your hands. I like them over my head, but you can bring them by your sides. So you can stay in a Shavasana for as long as you want. I'm going to stay for 10 long breaths. So if you're ready to move out of this, just bending one knee at a time, rolling off onto one side for a moment. Beginning to blink your eyes open. And just slowly pressing yourself up, finding wherever is comfortable for you to sit. Take a moment here, roll the shoulders a couple of times. Maybe letting the head drop down one side and the other. And then we'll reach our arms up over the head. Lengthen as long as you can. Reach out through your fingertips. When you're ready to exhale, take your hands to your heart center. Take a moment to give gratitude to your body. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you are feeling nice and stretched out. Please drink lots of water. Like, comment, let me know what you want to see, share with your friends. I said before, I have a GoFundMe, so if you look up Zyra Yoga on GoFundMe, you can just kick me a couple of pounds so I can finally get a new computer maybe so that I can make videos more often because this one doesn't work very well. Yeah, otherwise, if you are a student of mine in person, I will see you in class, or I'll see you just on here. So again, comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends, tell everybody. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.